Hey, thanks for coming to see our first YouTube video for the Towpath Trail Snack Shack. And right now, Leanna and Shannon are going to be working on putting it together. We're using some pastel colors. They've hijacked our garage here to do the work. You can see their little cave thing going on over there. But we're going to do it in pastel. The reason we decided to choose this is because at the Bolivar Strawberry Festival, our very first debut event, we didn't have any signage whatsoever. And on Sunday, I think, or Saturday, the day before, they always hold that Bolivar Strawberry Festival on Father's Day weekend, just for FYI. And a little plug to them since it's our local community. Anyhow, put some letters up. At first I didn't like them because they weren't, professionally done. They were cut out of crepe paper. But once we got there and I looked at it and I stood across the street and I went to each corner, a whole city block, boy, it stood out, big lettering. And I thought, geez, we got to do that here. Because we're on this intersection that this here where I'm at right now. I'll show you my little shrine. This is my little herb garden, flower garden. This happens to be located right along here, along the Greenville Peace Treaty line. The Greenville Peace Treaty line was the first peace treaty authorized by George Washington and the first U.S. Congress immediately after the American Revolution, as opposed to the Continental or Confederate Congress. But down here, what we're looking at doing is putting in a peace park where I'm aiming at deer. I'm willing to donate up to a 1/4 acre of land. I'm not sure exactly how much that is, but I own all this to the middle of the canal. And then there's a farmer on the other side, and the river, Tuscarawas River, and the county line, Stark County and Tuscarawas County line, is in the middle of the river. Like a horseshoe loop that runs all the way up through Bolivar and around. Anyhow, this is the last remaining gap in the towpath. And between New Philadelphia and Cleveland. I was aware of it. I've known my mother owned this property on the towpath, and my brother passed away, Billy, in 2003, and my mother retired, moved to Florida, and so the property she had on the market. We get a lot of traffic here, a lot of traffic, a lot of motorcyclists. Oh, there goes 20 or 30, well, maybe not that many, 6. Well, that's a long way from 20 or 30. But this is a Ohio Scenic Route, which is also kind of cool. So it's a federal designation. There's one of the stakes for the trail. But anyhow, after talking about it, I knew my internet business. I come from a technology background, and prior to that, I was reared in the cemetery business. Spent 30 years with my father on his board of directors, and a good number of years in the 80s working for that. And, worked at the Worthington Inn a few winters, and also Otani. So that's the extent of my food service background. But anyhow, getting back to the topic at hand, I donated this land to the Ohio Erie Canalway Coalition. When I moved down here and bought the house in November of 2010, I met Dick LeBold, who's very active. He's a local funeral director in town. He's retired now, but I kind of laugh when I hear the word retired in him. He's very active in the community, always has been. And but anyhow, I asked Dick about the towpath, what was going on, and what the plans were. And of course, he said he'd been wanting to talk to me about that because he knew I came down and got my mother's house. There's one of the stakes there. This is actually where the towpath's coming through. So anyhow, after a lot of thought, I kept coming up with ideas. I knew I wanted to commercialize on it. People weren't running out to buy internet accounts anymore, dial-up that is. And so over the last 10 years, I've watched my business go downhill. I was very proud to have at least been in the business and went on a nice ride for a while. I was in that for 25 years. In fact, this year would be my 25th anniversary. I got started early, and I won't bore you about that story. I talk a lot and don't want to get sidetracked, but I'll give you a little background on me. It's important to me to share that out so that you understand I'm making a radical change in the way it worked. I just turned 60. Was looking for an opportunity with the land. I talked to the neighbors. When I came down, we have a house back there, have an easement through there, but I actually own all the property to 10 feet in front of that house. There's 2 lots back there. Some of the ideas I had was primitive camping. You know, you do that, you got to put in septic and porta potties, and they cost, you start getting in tens of thousands of dollars real quick just to develop some idea like that. And of course, licensing and following state regulations and what have you can get complicated, and if you're not prepared for it, it can get costly. And so anyhow, all the ideas I kept coming up with were getting costly. But I decided to go ahead and not stop the progress, because they had a goal of trying to complete it by 2020, which I think is still the goal. And it looks like they're gonna make it. And so anyhow, Dick LeBold kept on me and asking me questions and using it as excuses to talk to me, and he was relentless, and I'm real happy that he was, because it's turning out to work out okay. Anyhow, my stepfather got that barn we're pointing out from a nearby farmer. I believe his name was Charlie, and he passed away here a year or 2 back, and that's going to be close to where the snack shack will sit. The trail's coming through. It's going to be developed where these yellow and blue tags are. And so anyhow, Dick kept on me and asking if I'd be interested in easement negotiating, and I knew it was coming through. I knew that if I try to get money for it, legally they have to give you fair market value, and I was losing it. I couldn't ever build or anything on there, obviously. And so I started asking things like, well, if they cut a tree down, like I was worried about that tree, would they replace it with 2? Can I specify that they use, agree to replace it with like 2 native to Ohio fruit and nut trees? Airbud, please, Airbud, don't get in the road. I haven't given him shock treatment, but he just turned 3 years old. And he's following me everywhere. He's great, my daughter's dog. But anyhow, getting back on track. Here's some bicyclists going by. I want to point out what they have up here too. So anyhow, Dick worked with me and really made me feel a part of the Bolivar. He's the chairman of the Bolivar Towpath Committee, and he gave me an opportunity in negotiating to share some opinions, and obviously I had years to think about it. There's where they developed a trail, and last year, 2016, on October 15th, it was dedicated. I won't give you a tour of that, but I'll be putting pictures up. There's the Bolivar sign. And of course that guy didn't get his new muffler yet. So Dick, I went ahead and signed it. Mom signed it, the neighbors signed it, everyone had to sign it. It's on the deed mentioned in any reference, including easements, etc. And Dick had to run around everyone and get them signed. I believe it was May of 2016. We decided to just donate the land. I can joke about paying taxes and trying to get greedy, but I was reared in the cemetery business. The reason I thought it was important to mention that, I spent 30 years on my father's board. He sold a business in 2008, and I was always proud of it. He developed it when he was getting his master's degree at Kent State University. And so I knew about eminent domains because cemeteries happen to be one of the institutions that enjoy that quasi-public legal precedent, if you will. But so I know a little bit about it. Not that cemeteries use it all the time, but it's just I learned about it at a young age. And I had an uncle that lost the house to the development of the expressway system back in the 50s, 60s, early 60s. So I decided to just donate it, talked it over with the family, everyone agreed. We didn't even want the dollar, we just thought it was ridiculous. We knew that I'm going to retire here and that I would find something. I just didn't know what. I'll joke about I was joking about putting my father out, who 89-year-old father, out to, because he sits out in the front yard a lot. He used to sit right over about behind where the shack is against that tree and watch the Amish buggies and the motorcycles drive by. And I'd always joked about, maybe I can put him out there to sell lemonade with the grandkids. Yeah, it's kind of funny now, especially. But I knew something would happen, and I knew I could have a lemonade stand. I could sell trail mix, granola, and those things popped in my head. But I was expecting to do it on a bigger plan with a camping. Primitive camping was one of the best ideas. I really felt if I had the money, I could put a cabin in there, a gift shop. If I really had the money, you could spend a lot of money doing it. There's some more bicyclists driving by. The trail stops, so right now they have to go down 212, and this is a very, very busy and bad intersection. They have to slow down. I think it's 35 miles an hour, I believe. It's pretty much a 90-degree turn. We do get a lot of accidents and stuff here. It's inevitable. There's a pattern. They put the guardrail up in the 80s. A couple of these trees are going to have to go. I was just told, which I understand. But anyhow, when the surveyors came out, I found out this barn I wasn't crazy about. I couldn't understand why my stepfather and brother, why they decided to put it up front, because I thought it'd be really, prime real estate for parking cars and whatever. And but anyhow, I guess they got it donated by a local farmer. Found out because in the negotiations they said they'd move it. Once the surveyors came out, we found out it don't have to be moved. So all of a sudden, wow, there they go. You can see we get a lot of traffic, so it's kind of fun. This is my first video, and I'm not a professional photographer. So, but maybe it's good that we got the noise because you can get an idea of the kind of traffic and things that are happening around here. And anyhow, so I was up here with Dick LeBold, and he kind of pointed out that they weren't going to have to move the shed. And just about the time I was getting ready to sigh, like, shit, I'm really bummed, it occurred to me, especially, we were standing right over in this corner. And, oh my God, I was the webmaster for the National Association of the Physically Handicapped for a good number of years. Right in here, imagine, if I could wheelchair, boom. And all of a sudden, I saw the trail. Take a little gravel or whatever and smooth this out, clean it up a bit, change the siding. There's different things we can do there. Put a window, make it go horizontal or whatever, so it can be raised up at night. And instead of that kind of window, what if we put on like slab wood? Make it an old shack. But literally, take it literally, what the hell? It's a storage barn anyhow right now, and I'm not using it. I didn't like it. So all of a sudden, I realized it wouldn't cost a lot of money. And we didn't need even a license to sell prepackaged foods like granola, trail mix, water. And I would already been thinking about those things in this plan I was putting together. And boom, the light bulb went off. Oh my God. Wouldn't that be a really cool snack shack? And I got a chance from the very day one to plan it out to where I could have handicap accessibility, for instance. And I started thinking, what if I put vending machines in here? I wouldn't even need to be here. So that's kind of one of the first ideas I had, is vending machines, and I might do that for a year. We'll be taking all this out, but I'm just showing you the condition that would have you it's in now. Quite a bit of storage up here, and we just put those plywoods in there recently. And, you know, put new doors on it. Nice window in the back here so I can see what's going on. Security from the house. Bingo. I like that idea. And I don't. Oh, that's some stuff. Just we plan yard sale or something coming up one of these days. And I think we're holding some stuff for my nephew, who, when my brother gave me a bunch of stuff for the Peace Park and Snack Shack idea, when I first announced it, he said, anything I didn't want, I could yard sale it. So you can see we got stuff for our yard sale. We just haven't had our yard sale yet. And anyhow, this is where I was thinking. So the idea went on, and that's kind of how it started. So I'm an election official, and been working the Zor Fire Department, that precinct. There's another biker. For the last couple, 3-4 elections. I think it's been 3 now I've done. And the last 2, I've been working with Greg Dion, who's been the manager of that precinct. And it's kind of funny, he's a Republican, I'm a Democrat. And although I was a Republican for a good number of years, I converted pretty much about the time I came down here. And I started talking to Greg about this idea that I had. If I want to sell coffee, you know, at what point do you need the license? Basically, it's the point in which you want to prepare and handle foods. So, even coffee. And there's reasons for that. They want to make sure, you know, you're not being unhealthy about it. I mean, people get sick if you don't wash your hands and, you know, pass them a cup or grab the raw food, or you don't cook the raw food, you know, whatever it is. And but I was trying to think of even simple stuff. What's the minimum requirement? So I started talking to him about it. Make a long story short, through 2 elections, the second election I went there, there's some more bikers. Don't you love it? Sunday on the scenic route. I love it. I'm hoping an Amish buggy will come by and capture that while I'm doing this. This happens to be a main road through here. Yeah, and that's one of the downsides about this idea is I'm not planning to turn this into parking. People are going to be here. So I'm a little concerned about the hazards. Also, so I'm not going to encourage drive-in traffic. It's dedicated for the towpath. This project we're working on. And Greg Dion is one came to me after that second election and visited me that following Monday and said, you know, hey, you're going to get into 4 sinks as soon as you cook hot dogs, and you got to have 1 sink for washing your hands, and all of a sudden I got to put electric in here and I need plumbing. So I don't have the money right now because I'm kind of between jobs. My internet business has been going down. Like I said, I've been looking for work, what have you. My consulting's dropped practically to nothing. So anyhow, the 4 stainless steel tanks, etc. I get into a little bit of money, but it's not outrageous. It's the plumbing I got to worry about. So he suggests to me, maybe I just start with a hot dog stand and get a mobile license. Okay. And he happens to know where I could get one. And, you know, he was real tactful about explaining it, how I can make the goal. So he asked me if I knew Rich Redding at Lynn Auto Drive-In Theater. and one of the oldest theaters in Ohio, which I did know about. And I met Rich once, but I didn't really know him. And I told him, Greg Dad, and he proceeded to tell me that he just had the food inspection of their concession over there, and that the story a little bit about the trailer, that he apparently got the trailer to do, the grandma working with the grandkids to do the concession on the Sunday flea market, which they do. There used to be a really big flea market at Garver, which burnt down a decade ago, and Shady Rest had a flea market. So now they're all held that Sunday on the, at the drive-in. And so anyhow, that's pretty much the story about how we came about the Snack Shack. I went and got it from Rich. We decided to buy it from there. I like the history. It's only 3 miles to over in Strasburg that way. And it gave me a chance to tie in the oldest drive-in theater back into the history. Really was happy with that. And Rich was really cool. And the rest is history. So I immediately scheduled the Bolivar Strawberry Festival, and we get back to the sign. I knew about the Peace Park. It could complement. I'm hoping to meet with the one we're actually planning. They know about it. We were talking about July, but I rather wanted to do it when I actually had a food service license. And once I knew that, we're now almost in August 3rd, which is the 222nd anniversary of the Greenville Peace Treaty, America's first peace treaty in George Washington and U.S. Congress. Very significant. And the Fort Lawrence is 1.5 miles down the trail. I want to tie these two pieces of history that, between the canal right there and Peace Park, complement our little snack shack. Now we're going to use the mobile snack shack, but on August 4th, we plan to do events. So along the Towpath Canal between here and Cleveland and Lake Erie. And so it just so happens, although we're grand opening, we're expecting that to be a thunderstorm day now. I can't control the weather, but the 3rd of August was a very important day. I had plenty of time to plan for it, as it turned out. Unbelievable as it sounds, working with the health department and pre-inspections. I didn't even know I was supposed to have a pre-inspection. I thought that was going to be the inspection, but it turns out it's right down to the day. So we've, because we had a couple things we had to fix from that pre-inspection. Now I know why they have them. Learning the process, having fun at it, trying to be positive, and we've been trying to do everything as we can to exceed the requirements by law, and because we recognize the reasons they exist. So August 3rd is the date, and August 4th we're going to be at the Hall of Fame parade route between 11th and 12th Street on Cleveland. My cousin lives nearby there and knows one of the property owners. I'm fortunate that we don't have to worry about competition, what have you. And I've got lots of Walnut Creek Amish country, made 100% pure, all beef hot dogs, Franks on the label. I guess down here in German country they call them Franks, but that's okay, I'll call them hot dogs. And we're going to be slinging hot dogs. That's what we're starting off with. We want to get into a lot of different types of dogs and stuff. We want to try to make it as quality as we can. I also bought, in addition to the 1,000 hot dogs I bought, which is I know overkill. We learned that at the Bolivar Strawberry Fest. But we found out we can freeze them, preserve the life, and they don't go bad. And we have like 2 months before the flavor starts losing it. We did, however, make our first donation to the food pantry. I thought it was kind of peculiar because I've been there a few times, and it was kind of weird going in there. My wife said they were gone in an hour. Basically hundreds of buns we bought over, too much. But we learn. At least this first time I made a mistake, it ended up doing good, and I feel good about that. At least you might call it a cost of education. And so we'll see you August 3rd. My video is 24 minutes. I was going to try to make it less than a half hour, but I wanted to share the story. and get my first YouTube video up here for the shack, and hopefully give a little bit of the story about it. It's a family-operated business due to zoning. I can't hire employees, unfortunately. I am going to go through the process, and the township knows it's actually been in the paper, as Mr. Ackerman, Trustee Ackerman, and Chairman suggested I've got more homework to do. It turns out that's not an easy process. I can't just fill out a form and petition that township. So the process, the announcement, the intent we want to do that would allow us to make that commercial, would allow me to hire high school kids to hang out for the towpath and make some money. And that's what I really want to do. I mean, my kids are growing up. I turned 60. It's a retirement thing for me. But, you know, I'd like to be able to relax a little later in life. I've got other people I'm obligated for. So, you know, maybe it'd be an opportunity. Right now, I'm absolutely limited to family. I can't. Only family can work it. I found out that that's legal. You know, it's like stopping someone from working out of their house. And I've been doing that now for 7 years here. But I can't encourage the traffic. I don't want to encourage the traffic. This is pure for the towpath. That's not going to move. The only encouragement of traffic is if you're handicapped. You know, you're not. It's understandable. Right up. Just be safe going across the towpath. This is a private drive. So is that. We don't want people blocking it. And I'm not going to put a driveway in here where anyone has to go across the trail, because I believe that would start adding into a safety factor. So this is purely for the trail. I'm not too worried about the numbers. We'll see how many come down, but I do know up towards Cleveland, the number of people on the trail now is something like 2.6 per million per year. So whatever it comes out to be, I think we'll sell a few hot dogs and be able to do good, and hopefully eventually get the lock zone commercial so we can make opportunities available down the road. We're far enough out of town. This is the first property outside of the village of Bolivar in Lawrence Township. So I'm excited about that. It's also the first residence across the county line on this side of the road. There is a couple back there further down, but I believe even then, if you went by the footage of it, it's about 3 football fields between here and the river, which is where the line, Stark County line, runs into the river. So anyhow, we hope you support us. We hope we're going to learn and make you some good dogs. We've got some ideas already, and hopefully we'll have fun. Love to share the history of the place, and I'd love to talk to you about the Greenville Peace Treaty and how my brother has kind of really started that knowledge off that made me so interested in the property to begin with. And I'm really happy to share it. I think it's worked out. You never know. I would have never dreamed I'd be slinging hot dogs. But the excitement of it, the outdoorsy, the wildlife factor down here, we've got deer galore. I just am extremely excited about it now. And hopefully we'll get the shack going right on there. That's the long-term goal, and until we achieve that long-term goal, we're going to take that little trailer and hopefully hit every event in community that we can along the towpath. Basically, I'm looking at 5 miles from the towpath. We'd like to promote and have fun, hit events. All right, guys, stop, see you sometime. Bye-bye.